informative and contains my opinion and understanding of the subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live stream. It's Dr. Jamie Bona and Dr. Anya Schultz. And today we are going to be going through some of Stephan Sterns' jail calls. So this should be good. All right. Anything you want to say before we start? This is a little bit crazy, right?
No. Yep, I'm ready.
You're ready? You guys, just so you know, Dr. Schultz definitely did her homework. We decided this afternoon what we were going to talk about, and she listened to all 3 hours of these phone calls. I've listened to them too, just throughout, since they've been out. All right, the first one's downloading. Here we go. This is crazy. And make sure you can tell me if you can hear it.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
It's low.
It's low. All right, hold on. I paused it real quick. All right, pause. Let me go to my volume. Oh, that's why. Now let's try it. Is that better?
A little bit.
I think it'll get better. I think his the dialing part's louder, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
United States of America. United States of America.
I love that they have to say that.
You have one old message for calls within the United States. Your account balance is $30.28. The cost of this call will be 21 cents for the first minute and 21 cents for each additional minute, excluding taxes and other applicable fees. The time limit is 15
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can. Where is it?
Hello, you have a call at no expense to you from
Stephan Sterns.
This call will be
I'm afraid to hit anything.
subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IT Solutions. You may begin speaking.
Oh no.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. I think we got cut off. Yeah, the phone said call failed. Stupid.
Hold on, I'll find it.
Phone systems. So we were going down that book list. Did you want to try to go down it again for me? Yeah, hang on.
Got it.
Hang on a second to get back to where it was. Okay.
While it plays, I'm going to turn my computer around.
Okay. I don't hear anything, so you may have muted yourself.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Those that are writing. So now, how about Nick by Michael Crichton? Okay.
I'm just fixing my.
Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King.
And you know that you're playing like one of the last ones.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh.
Crichton.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Hold on.
Pirate.
Now that I'm back to normal again, I can get. Look, it's going to flip me around hopefully, so I'm not upside down the whole time.
Written a lot of stuff, huh? Uh-huh.
All right, hold on. So you said this was one of the last ones?
Yeah, that's the one where she's going through the book list.
That one annoys me so bad, I can't tell you. So hold on, let me go to Plunder's thing, and then I guess it would start down here.
It would have been 5/13/24 if there's a date on it.
This one says 5/26.
There's one right before that. That's
right,
the first one.
Oh, you're
5/13.
awesome. Wait, hold on. I see 666. I see 5/26. Where do you see 5/13? I don't even see it.
It was 5/13 at 2:03 p.m.
I don't even see that one.
Yeah, on 5/26, he called.
That's the first one I
Right.
have.
Okay, which is fine. I mean,
Right.
I could tell you real quick what 5/13
You
said.
tell me, yes, do that. Why this one's downloading?
So basically, this was the first call he was making to his family, and they were like, "What took you so long?" And apparently, the jail was on lockdown and things like that. They start to talk about the fact that they weren't expecting a murder charge, and now they're, and he basically said it wasn't true. I don't know why they're looking at the murder charge. And then the parents were basically saying, "Are you cooperating?" And Stearns is like, "I haven't had the opportunity to cooperate. I've done everything they've asked, but nobody's talked to me since I've been in here now." So that was like the whole big thing. But then the dad kind of starts to talk about, he's trying to get a timeline about where were you? Where'd you go Wednesday morning? Why did you end up leaving? And Stearns said, "Well, I just left because I was driving around. I just needed to think about stuff," like all of this weird stuff about the timing. But there was no real answers. And then the mom was like, "I'm trying to get all your medical records together and do all of that for us." And apparently the institution couldn't find his mental health records. She's like, "But I know you've been there." And then they start to talk about how there's a 40-year minimum sentence. And dad's like, no one's going to be around once you get out of the 40 years. And he's trying to understand what had happened that day. And Stern says, "I didn't start it." And then the dad says, "But you participated in it."
Yes, he did.
And that's just as bad.
So the thing that I hated about that call that I'm so glad you brought this call up, because I remember this call specifically. And I do remember that I was like, why isn't anybody the reason I did this, you guys, is because for some reason I'm just going to be upside down if not. So that I figured instead of me being upside down and people making fun of that, I will just do that. So, but when he says that I'm not cooperable, or the police say that I'm not cooperable or whatever, and he's like, "And I don't even know what that means." And I'm like,
yeah,
wait, what? He's like, "But I don't know." That one annoys me so bad. I'm so glad you brought that one up. Let me see this next one. I hope this is the next one, because like you said, there's more than one.
Yeah, there's
526. I have 3 here.
Or maybe 3.
Yeah, I have 3. Oh, actually, I have more than 3, but I don't know what order they're in. So we'll just listen to the one that I downloaded. Okay. It's on that date. Hopefully it's not out of order, but it might be. We'll see what happens.
Fine.
Let's see. All right. Let me see. So let me download this one.
Please enter your PIN number.
Oh, this one might just be
1. Old message. To listen to your messages, please return to the main menu.
Once or twice he tries to call. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, once or twice I think he tries to call and it doesn't work.
Yeah, he had this problem throughout, because the dad always is like, "You're trying to call me," and then when I try and grab it, it doesn't go through. So they have this issue the whole entire time they speak.
Gotcha. So I'll go to the next one.
Press 1 for English. The time is 7:35.
United States of America.
I love that.
You have 1 old message. To listen to your messages, please return to the main menu.
This might be another one of them.
Press 0 to make a prepaid collect call, or speak for calls within the United States.
I think it is. We're going to go to the next one.
Please enter the area. Press 1 for English. The time is 7.
This is ridiculous.
Please say United States of America.
United States of America.
You have 1 old message. To listen to your messages.
Oh, I wish that he listened to the message.
Press 0 to make a prepaid collect call, or speed dial call.
All right, I think that's another one. So we're just going to go to a different one. Maybe that's why you had 3 of them, because yeah, this one says 4.7. whatever kilobytes. So I think this one should be one where he finally gets them.
The time is 8.
I don't know what kind I would need.
All right, here we go. So they do
For
talk here.
now, they serve.
Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Hey there.
Hey.
Hey, the guard just let me know that she's going to need the phone back in about 5 minutes. I think someone else wants to make a call.
Okay.
So this will have to be great. Probably the last one of the night, but I'll push it till she needs it back.
He makes me so annoyed.
Well, better than nothing.
Yep. So anyway,
Was long.
what's that?
And waiting for you to call back seemed like forever.
Totally.
Then it just goes by quickly as you call.
Yep. Same for me. Time creeps by when I'm waiting to call back, and then just slides by real quickly when we're talking there. Just like I said, just like my breaks at work.
Stop. I have to stop it. I can't. Just like his breaks at work. Like, is he serious right now?
Mm-hmm.
Quite as long as you think it is. Yeah.
The dad's just like, yeah.
Hey, how's your eyes? Do you need reading glasses?
If I did, I don't know what kind I would need. For now, they serve their purpose, but even my attorneys noticed at some point that I did seem like I had to kind of squint to look at what I was reading.
Okay.
I think it just depends on how tired I am, how strained my eyes are, all that. But yeah.
What, do they have provisions there to provide reading glasses, or what? Or can you have reading glasses?
You can get reading glasses off the commissary, actually.
Wait, this is the best, you guys.
And I guess that's the only place you can get them, right?
Yeah, probably. But that would be a matter of trial and error because they have like 3 or 4 different magnifications. I think I have no idea which I would need.
Well, try 150, 1.50, and then go to 175, and we'll see which works.
Yeah, I guess I could.
I mean, can you try them on?
I think you have to buy them. I don't think you get to try them.
So you guys listen, he's going to say how much they are.
To make the order and pay for it and then send it back,
Well, what if they don't work? Can you send them back?
I don't know how that works. I could ask somebody, but I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll find out. How much are they?
Like $3 or something like that.
$3?
Something like that. I'm not sure.
What are they, like paper 3D glasses?
They're plastic.
Well, yeah. Oh, he's being facetious.
Yeah, it could be more. They might be $4 or $5 or $6.
Wait, now he goes up.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, could be even $12.
$12.
I saw them, but I don't remember how much the price was.
Well, they end up being $11.50.
Is that what they ended up being? $11.50?
Yeah.
I was going to say we have to stop that right there because he literally starts out by saying that they're like $3 or $4. And then when the dad's like, what kind of glasses are they? Like paper or whatever? And he's like, I was just being facetious. I will say that they are well spoken. All of them. Like they do use like big words and stuff. So, but he goes from $3 to $12. And I don't know. I don't remember this, Anya, but please tell me. I don't even think he uses the glass. Doesn't he like never get them?
He never gets them. Yeah. Because he says, I think, because his dad eventually asks, like, oh, did you ever buy the reading glasses? And he's like, no. I really think my issue was I was really tired and I had just woken up. And so I really don't think I have a problem. That's what
he has an excuse for, and like doesn't do him any goods because she like all agree with him and be like, oh yeah. And I'm like, is she serious right now? All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
How you doing with your stuff that you got from the commissary? You have enough to take with?
Yeah, he's fat and sassy.
Yeah, I've got enough coffee, hard candies, and saltine crackers to last me through the end of the month here. The other
Well, that's a couple more days.
Yeah, the other snacks kind of went faster than I expected them to, so I think from now on, I'm just going to stick to coffee, hard candies, and saltine crackers.
Once you get your books, you'll have something to occupy your time.
Yeah. But hard candies, saltines, and coffee, those seem to give me the best bang for it.
The best bang for his buck.
Chips and things like that, the pickles and all that, it just doesn't last the way you want it to.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard to have just one per day,
Yeah.
Stop.
Especially with the meals like they are, and you never feel full after a meal, so you always feel like your stomach.
Wait, this might be too fast. Hold on.
And then there's nothing else until like 6 in the morning.
All right, let me slow that back down. So let me just go back a tiny bit. I tried to speed that up, but it went too fast.
That's the way you want it to.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard to have just one per day,
Yeah.
Especially with the meals like they are, and you never feel full after a meal, so you always feel like in your stomach, especially after dinner, because that's around 6 or 7, and then there's nothing else until like 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and me,
Well, you've had a lifetime of snacking all night long.
Yeah, well, plus my metabolism doesn't help.
Yeah. So.
See, what's really killing me though is my back and my hips.
No, he's bitching about his hips.
Yeah, his sleeping situation.
Your bones and joints are underneath, so it hurts hips, and then your knees are resting against each other, and it's just
Right.
tough.
Well, you probably shouldn't have molested a kid. Well, did worse than that. I'm just trying.
I'd watch the medicals, the lights are always on overhead, and so they were real bright. So you try to find a way to block it out. Any way you lay is just terrible.
Yeah.
Get a piece of your shirt and put it on your eyes.
On your mat and your blanket, and it's just really keep hoping that something's going to break in my favor with this trial.
Well. Okay.
I have to have hope about
That cracks me up.
Yes, he does.
Otherwise, I've got nothing.
Yeah.
Always keeping my cardigan angel one.
Well, you've been there. You've been there for what, 3 months now?
Yeah, at the end of this month, it'll be 3 months.
March, April, yeah, 3 months. So.
Well, like I said, the whole process could take 2 or 3 years before it's concluded. So, and I've already been told that if the prosecution is smart, that they'll drag it out as long as they can.
He makes no sense.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen. So, just keep hoping we can find something.
I wish I could speed it up to 1.25.
Reading material and we know that arrives safely, then we can arrange for other stuff.
Yep. That would be good. Having my own little mini library with stuff that I like to read. And
Well.
just what,
So when they move you from cell to cell, how do you move your stuff around?
I toss it all in my blanket, close my blanket up, fold my blanket up into my mat, and then push it.
Oh, they move you, blanket and mat.
Yeah. Typically they'll move me with the mat, but if they don't, I'll take my blanket and everything and just hope that they clean the mat in the new cell well enough. Which last time they did not.
Yeah. Right.
I found a whole wad of spit underneath at one time.
Ew.
Yeah, so you get to, well, you should, maybe complain to management.
No.
Yeah, well, I'll be sure to include it in my Yelp review.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
1 star, accommodations suck, food terrible.
Yeah.
Again, maybe you shouldn't get to jail.
Not to be there, but that's, yeah.
Dad says that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm still upside down.
I could never have imagined that we would all be in this situation. I just can't, couldn't. There's no way I could have ever even visualized it. It's just awful.
Yeah, me either, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, things kind of went sideways. Whatever happened with, so you knew that was going to go down a rat hole.
Yeah,
All right, so now this is where you guys got to listen.
And then,
a million years that she would not be around anymore. So.
yeah. So once that went sideways, whatever happened, you know, that was all she wrote.
Yeah, well, you know, I can handle a lot of things.
But
I said, still has not been heard from except for an interview. It was a newspaper where she told everybody that did sleep, but you don't.
As I was going to say, I can handle a lot of things, but one thing I just can't reconcile or figure out in my mind or wrap my head around is the fact that, you know, doesn't get to live anymore. There were a lot of things that I wanted to see for her, you know. She had another year or so before high school. You know, learning how to drive, figuring out what she wanted to do with her life. I was excited to see where she was going, you know. I was really impressed with the person that she was finally growing into.
Well, got a whole lot to talk about, a lot to own up to.
All right, so he said a ton there. Let's just stop it there for a second. So let me read what look a squirrel. Let me see what she says right quick. Meanwhile, it's so small on my screen that I have to unshare it so that I could read it. So that's why I'm unsharing it. Oh my God. It's so bad. All right. The similarity between what mom likes to read and what Stephan likes to read, combined with mom's comments about what happened to her as a child, scares me. Boom. There is a huge connection between the mother and Stephan, 1,000%. I think that I see why he turned out to be the person that he is. I don't know how. I don't know. What do you have to say about this?
No, I agree. I mean, I know what call she's talking about where you couldn't quite hear mom, but she had made the comment because this was the weird shit about mom. Mom like would bring up a subject out of nowhere.
Yes.
That like wasn't even what they were talking about. And so in that call, they were talking about books and like other shit like food. Like they're always talking about freaking food. But
Always.
out of nowhere, she's like, well, I read that. Oh, hold on. I have like the exact thing because it was like something crazy about abuse. She says, oh, so I read that sometimes children sometimes adults like children because of being abused as a child.
She
And
does.
so she's referencing like, I know you're into this. And, you know, but I read that it could be because of abuse. And now people are saying that like I abused you in some fashion. And he's like, you never did. But then he goes on to say that while you guys were heavier on the discipline than I cared for, you guys did not abuse me.
He does.
So that's when she starts to go into her information about the way she grew up and saying that he had it better than she did.
Yep.
So definitely like, you know, I'm interested to know what that discipline was, because are we talking like just normal authoritarian type discipline?
No. I don't think so. Let me tell you why. Because on another channel, I think it might have been Gray Hughes Investigates. I'll look tonight after we're done. But I'm going to send you the video that Gray does, or somebody does like an interview. It has to be Gray, with a few of his friends, right? And the one friend lived in Japan, like when he was little, and then he came back to the United States and he wound up moving in with Stephan and the family. And he said that he lived with them for like 7 years and he didn't even know that Stephan had a half older brother. That's crazy.
So I wonder if that's the part where the mom brings up this discussion, because apparently a whole bunch of people from the townhouse and from his past end up going on this podcast and basically like throwing him under the bus. And the mother is now pissed. And she's like how could these people do this to you? All you did was ever care for them, take them
They're
in,
jealous of
and
you.
they're jealous of you.
Stop.
Yep. And then she was talking about one specific person, but didn't really say his name.
Oh,
It was
I
like
know his name.
it was a nickname she gave him, like Mr. something, and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, if anybody in the chat remembers, let us know because it's on the tip of my tongue. But
Yeah,
yeah, the whole
like
thing is
it was
just-
something weird.
and he blames the 90s, but we'll get to that. Let's see. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
I know you can't talk about this, but like
The dad says, I know you can't talk about this,
sounds like
but
you didn't know something had happened to her.
Well, I discovered her. In the state that she was in after everything was said and done. So obviously I can't get into detail, but no, I was not aware that she had passed on. As you know, I'm up and down throughout the night, and I was not in the room the whole time. And it's not like you just suddenly feel someone's ghost pass away from them. It's a discovery. And
so she wasn't even in the same room as you?
Well, she was in the room that I started in, but I'm up and down throughout the night, and I tend to wander around the house and fiddle around on my phone and step out front, feel the nice cool night air and all that.
stop. Who says that? I got to feel the nice, cool night air.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, so I was.
And he says haunting
In
around.
the room for. Obviously, I really can't get into too many details, but yeah.
Okay.
I didn't discover what had happened until just around dawn.
Okay. Interesting.
Because I discovered that she was ice cold.
Well, all I can say, Stephan, is that my heart breaks for you because I know that's something that you never would have done and never would have wanted to have done to her.
Right.
Neither would we.
The mom just wants to make sure that nobody puts it on her.
I'm angry on your behalf.
This part coming up confused me though.
Okay.
So I'm just angry.
Was there anybody else at the townhome that was not a regular person?
No, which is why I keep saying that I'm not sure that there's any one person honestly to blame, but they're certainly trying to blame me. And according to the autopsy report, like I said, raises a lot more questions, but they seem to be settling on trying to say it's homicide. Like I said, it has something to do with bones in her throat, but take that to mean what you will.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But I would never have done anything like that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're the same person that cried when I asked you to dispatch a little bird that broke its neck or something was flopping around.
Yeah,
Okay. Before we go on, she just said, did you guys hear what she just said? She just said, you're the kid when the bird's neck was broken. Why is the bird? How many of you listening have discovered a bird with a broken neck and brought it to your mother? Is that not weird?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
You could be a full animal lover. That's fine. Eventually it sounds like he's a full animal lover, but at the same time, how do you even know that the bird's neck was broken?
Weird. Exactly.
So weird. But the thing I don't understand about that part is, and maybe you have a insight to it, but the dad asks, were there strangers in the townhome? And Sterns says no, but then he goes on to say, but that's why I keep saying I'm not sure if there's just one person to blame. That makes no sense.
Okay, so you guys, the reason that I don't have my camera on is because my computer stinks and it makes me upside down. So first, let me just say that. The second thing, so let me explain what I think happened here.
Okay.
I think that mom and dad are trying to find somebody else to blame, whether it be Jen, but they're trying to see, could there be somebody else that was in the house that night? Like, in other words, one of the females that lived there Did their boyfriend sleep over? Could they have done something? So by Stephan saying no, nobody was there, he's such an idiot sometimes. Like I don't think he realizes that he further incriminates himself by saying that, because now he says, like, had he said, like, oh, I don't know, maybe, like, he doesn't get what the dad's doing. So he has no social awareness on that aspect. But then the dad or Stephan says, I don't know if it's just one person to blame. I think what he means there is that he's trying to get to the fact, like, do you remember the parts that come up? And we won't get into it too much because I want to hear it with you. But when he talks about how she knew that or they liked me and they would give me oohs and ahs and da-da-da. It's like, come on, dude. Yeah. So I think he's trying to like pass the blame in that way. But the dad literally was hoping that he would say like, oh yeah, somebody's boyfriend or something was there. Maybe it wasn't me.
Yeah, I figured that's everything he was saying. But I'm like, the way you're answering this question makes no sense, because why would you say that there's more people to blame, but yet you're also saying there was no strangers in the house? Well, then what are you saying? Like, you're just, you're going around in circles in a very calm way, I will add. But
wait, Lucy makes a great point. He's so used to them accepting his bullshit deflections that he thinks everyone believes it. But by the sounds of it, Lucy, let me just tell you, if we were in class, you would have gotten candy. I bring airheads to class. That was an airhead one. So let me tell you why. Because a narcissist does this. And I think Stephan is a narcissist. And I will say it. This is only my opinion. It's based off of the hundreds of hours of things that we've watched and listened to, so on and so forth. But that was candy worthy, because that with a personality disorder like narcissism or even antisocial personality, like you, especially narcissism, though, you think that everybody else like is buying your bullshit, and you don't get that. Like, we're like, what? He says he's haunting around and that he's so used to, like, you know how I am. I like to smell the nice breeze. Get the hell out of here.
Cares about people, cries at movies.
Yes, I know.
There was always, and then there was Skippy.
Skippy, yeah. Rue.
Jaybird.
Jaybird, yeah. I remember them all. Burying them was very hard for me.
Yeah.
And,
all I know, Stephan, is when I look at a picture of you and I look into your eyes, I don't see a monster there. I don't see a bad person there. I see my son, who I love. That never will change.
Well, thank you. And I know that I'm not a bad person or an evil person or a monster.
No. But you do need to dive into the Bible head first and stay in it, because you need grace. You need God on your side as a warrior on your side.
So this is where Dr. Schultz and I were saying before, like before we came on, they get into this whole religious thing. And by the sounds of things, I don't, and this is my opinion, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, Mrs. Sterns, but it doesn't feel like to me that she was like a heavily religious person before all of this, or that like because I don't know. I don't, like, if you listen to what the friends say and stuff like that, it doesn't come across as if religion was always like that. He really, because he even starts talking about it and you hear how superficial it is. Wait, y'all, this is not Christianity. I promise. God doesn't make that, right? Chomo.
Well, she almost, I think the mom ends up going to like blame Jesus at one point in time for
why does he put that
in his brain? Yeah.
So what does that mean? She's probably a fucking narcissist too.
Well, I think she's like what we would call like a community narcissist.
Yes, I agree with you. Explain to people what a community narcissist is. That's
community narcissist is the person who always has to be seen as respectable and held to a high standard within the community itself. So that's your PTO mom who, like, it has to be president of PTO, makes it to everything, involved in everything their kids do. And everybody looks at that mom and is like, oh my God, she is mom of the year. When in reality, she just wants to make sure she looks better than everybody. I feel like how Mrs. Sterns is within her community.
I agree.
You know, and especially now that we're getting back to the church, because I think they switched churches throughout the couple of weeks that they're having. Is
that what it was?
It sounded like that. They're like, oh, we're going to this new church. You would love it. And so
maybe that's what made me think that it was like a new venture for them.
Maybe, because I mean, she seems to know a little bit too much for it to be something new. So I'm not sure whether if, I'd like to know more about what they did as children with the
I
church
agree.
because, obviously there's nothing wrong with obviously being religious and going to church, but
Sure.
there is a line that is normally drawn when you see some of these individuals where they were like, we weren't allowed to do this, we weren't allowed to do this, we constantly read the Bible, they took it to
Like
a level that I don't think
hyper
Christianity was
religiosity.
correct.
Yes. Right.
So that might be that as well, where he was pushed over the edge based on the religion, that she forced constantly, because I think there was one point where he was reading Exodus and she was like, no, you should not be reading that. You need to be reading the Romans. And, that's after Jesus came and this, and that's where you need to look for forgiveness. And so,
I think that maybe that's where I took it as if this was like a new venture, because I think I felt like the narcissist in him was trying, and again, you guys, this is the beauty of coming to see us on Monday nights, because we don't always have the exact same thought, right? So for me, this is a new venture. I'm a narcissist, a community narcissist. This looks really bad on me, Stephan. Like, what did we do wrong? And they have to know that these calls are being taped. So I think when she asks him things like, did we do anything? Did anybody, like, she wants, because they even follow it up with like, because we're getting the blame for this and stuff like that. So I think by going to church, it makes her look like, or makes her feel like she's not as bad of a parent than what it looks like in the community. And I feel like whether they change churches or they just move there or whatever the case may be, I feel like he would know that, like, who to go to, like who you would go to for this or for that if they were religious like that. I feel like, and this is the other thing, they're avid readers, him and the mom. So it wouldn't surprise me if she read the entire Bible in like 2 weeks or less. That wouldn't surprise me.
The dad doesn't seem that way.
No, you're right.
So I definitely think that dad plays a completely different role. He seems the most sane to me. And the one who keeps calling them out, and he's like, okay, well, if that's what you're kind of thinking, you go, that's good for you.
He does. Can you see these comments when I put them up? Are you reading them?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Because they'll say hi to you. And I just want to make sure that you're seeing them.
Yeah, I see all of them.
Hi, just want to make sure. All right, awesome. All right, let's keep going.
Help me through this somehow. I know that do you still have a Bible? I have a Bible. I have a King James version.
Okay. So we're looking into getting your large print Bible. So I want to make sure that this delivery gets to you, and then I can order one from the publisher and get it to you at large print, so it won't be glasses.
Well, hopefully it does. We have no idea how often they pick it up or how long it'll take to get here and get sorted and get delivered, if it does at all. But I haven't received any written notification of anything being returned yet. So.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll judge it from there. So we'll just make sure that we're timing this right. So the Bible will occupy the majority of your time.
Yeah, I keep praying to God for help, for some kind of miracle. I mean, I know I've probably run up my divine credit as far as miracles go, with my guardian angel and God working in overtime to keep me alive as long as they have.
Oh, wait, there's 1 minute remaining, you guys. He's going to ask for money.
One more big miracle, one big salvation. And
have you got some way to keep a journal of notes that you would take from reading the Bible?
I can get a pad of paper off the commissary, and I can get more pens and stuff too.
But I'm going to need you to add money.
Negative $10 by this point.
See, he's negative $10.
I know I can get a pad of white ruled paper off of there.
And it's going to cost $75.
For commissary yet, or wait?
If you want to, yes. But I'm not going to use it on snacks, just Tony Central for now.
On snacks.
All right, how much do I need to put in?
50 $50.
Okay.
It's going to be dropped down to 40 like immediately.
Okay.
Without to be cut off.
About out of time.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. I love you both.
Oh my God, that's so annoying.
All right.
So you guys,
Time is
that's so annoying, right? So he, oh my God, I don't even know what to say about this. So every time, I want you all to take notice when we're listening to one of these, every time we get to 1 minute thing, he'll either say, I'll call you right back because he has more time left or whatever that he can call back for another 15 minutes. But whenever it's the end for the rest of the night, I haven't found one yet where he doesn't remind them to put it in the commissary. He goes as far as in one of these calls as to ask the dad if they could set up a trust for him.
Well, it's so crazy. So the thing one, on the first call, he asks for money as well. And the dad's like, we are like piss ass broke. Like,
yep. And he said that might change, but for the next 30 days, like we have nothing.
But then like every single time he talked to you, you're like, oh, okay, I'll put it on your books. Like no problem whatsoever. But then the thing that was pissing me off the entire time was Stearns constantly was like, did you guys find my watch?
Yeah. Oh, there's something about the watch. So let me tell you what I think the watch is.
Frig is so eventually I came to the conclusion that maybe it was just about money because he thinks it's worth $1,200. And it's the same thing with like the freaking car. Like the dad's obsessed with selling this damn car. Like your son is in jail for murder.
Yes. And you're
molesting a child. And you are like, I need you to sign these papers so I can sell your car. What is the matter with you people?
So I think that the parents, this is the way of the parents not knowing how to say no to him, which is probably something that they're not used to at all in his life, right? So I think that they like jump around, like they beat around the bush, if you will. And instead of just being like, listen, cuz like who the fuck are like how much should you put? $50? Like I know that might not sound like a lot to people, but that's a lot of money.
For jail, it's a lot.
Yeah, right.
Especially when you're, being financially well in jail.
Right. And
you don't want to buy this because it's $3. So I buy the old people stuff.
Yeah, the root beer barrels and the what did you say? The root beer barrels, butterscotch. That's it, and the mints. All right, let's see this one.
PM. If you believe that you are the victim of sexual or physical abuse.
What?
Press star 90.
I didn't hear that before.
I didn't hear that before.
Press 1 to place a call.
That's crazy.
Press 2 to please enter your PIN number.
I'll put this one on higher speed.
After the tone, please say United States of America.
I love this.
United States of America.
You have one old message. To listen to your messages, please return to the main menu. Press 0 to make a pre.
Let's see if he gets them.
For calls within the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean, please enter the area code prefix.
I'm doing that on purpose, you guys, just to get it. I don't think he gets in touch with them here.
6-1.
All right, let's do the. I was going to say, let me do the next. Oh, 6-1's the next date. Thank you for telling me that because I have another one in 5, and I think because I bought all of the package or whatever. Oh wait,
yeah, you got all the missed calls too.
I have all the missed calls too. That's exactly right. And I don't want to put on that other person's thing because why take the chance of getting copyright strike when I own them? So there's a couple I have here from 6-1. So I'm trying to look at the size
8 p.m.,
of them.
like 7:49 p.m.
10:49 p.m. I don't know why mine doesn't say that. Hold on. Let me just click on one and see what happens.
He calls them 3 times on that day. Starting at 7:49 and ending at 8:53.
All right. Well, this is a 6-1 one. Let's just see what happens. Oh, wait. I don't know. Well, let's just see what happens. I don't know if this is going to be. Wait, that's a big one. And that's a big one. All right. Let's just try it. This is 6-1, but I don't know if this is one that he gets through. So I'm going to keep downloading the others.
Press 1 for English. The time is 7:43.
All right. Let's see. Hold on.
If you believe that you are the victim of sexual or physical abuse, press star.
Oh, wait. I see other ones. Hold on. This might be it up here.
Press 1 to place a call.
All
Press
right.
2 to please enter your PIN number followed by
This
the
has to be
pound
it, you guys. I think I'm starting to get it. Anything that's like 4.6 megabytes or whatever is probably the ones that he talked to them. So I'm getting the hang of it. Here we go.
sign is
So we'll skip through this part.
8:51 p.m. IC solution.
Still.
Yeah, but
right,
hindsight's
hold on.
always 2020.
Going on
Faith and trust.
Oh my gosh, how did I go that?
IC solution. You may begin speaking. Hi.
18.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, just getting back to what I was saying, faith and trust.
This is going to be real religious, this one.
Oh God, is
I
it?
guess if there's one thing
Yep.
that we wish for, is that you would come to us sooner. That you'd come to us and let us know what was going on.
Unfortunately, I was suffering from a bit of cowardice.
To say the least.
Yeah, but hindsight's always 2020, and can't do anything about it now. But this thing,
It's bigger because of it.
it's a bigger problem because of that, and again, not sure what would be any. I'm sure there would be some things different if you had chosen that path, because there's obviously nothing we could have done without. Well, there's nothing we could have done. I mean, there was only one choice, but we could have talked our way through this. I mean, the phone call that you made to me in the afternoon.
Wait, in other words, I could have tried to cover this up for you.
Earlier in the afternoon, if you had at least shared that, we could have talked our way through that and figured out a much better solution than whatever was whatever you guys came up with, because none of that was believable. And I was thinking earlier today or yesterday that somehow I feel that you were forced into this, and I don't know, and that's just my speculation.
That's bullshit.
You were compromised, and you were forced to participate.
You guys, he's a 38-year-old grown ass man.
In this, and
He forced somebody else.
As soon as you got away from the rest of them, you should have called me, and we should have and could have discussed this, and the outcome would have been a lot different than what it is right now. But
I don't want to get your hopes up, and as I said, don't get carried away with any conspiracy theories, but in a way I was compromised. When all that stuff was happening, I was not in my right mind anymore.
yeah,
Why not?
I understand that. That's when you probably should have just called me and said, "Hey, I've got a bit of a situation here," and
It's been a rational thing to do.
That's an
At
understatement.
that point, I was no longer capable of rational actions or thoughts.
yeah, I understand. Yeah,
Incapable of it. I had no control over my faculties anymore. It's like a motor was running, but there was a screaming chimpanzee behind the wheel.
Oh my God, I can't.
yeah.
I understand that. I don't understand lack of emotion.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't like she was catatonic. She was talking in a normal voice.
Okay, you guys, so now she's going to talk about Jen and Jen's family. I think the parents are still in a state of denial here, because eventually the dad you could tell the dad starts to come around to the idea that there's a possibility that he's the only one involved. But I think they're still in the beginning, and they're still in a state of denial. This is June 1st, and the crime happened the end of February. So there is a little bit of time that passed. But I think the one that they do with Hidden True Crime, which I'll also send you, somebody was asking us to, I think that's the one. Oh, Mark, you didn't have to do that. I love you guys. Thank you. Oh my God, now I was like so taken aback and now I don't even know what to say. No, but with his mom and dad, I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm so taken aback. Thank you, Mark. Hold on, let's keep listening.
You know, the only thing that showed any emotion at all was jiggling her leg, but she did that anyway. So, you know,
That's what it was. Thank you.
Yeah, she was anxious because she was lying through her teeth. That's okay.
Don't get your hopes up for any conspiracy theories or vast conspiracies. Just understand that anything I did was not done while being within my rational mind. I had snapped at that point. And I wish I had done the correct thing to begin with. You know, I wish I had run downstairs and shaken her awake and called 911 and all that. And
I wish you had too. I wish you had too. Maybe she could have done the same. But you know,
she was beyond that.
Okay.
You know, when someone's that ice cold and just gone.
She was in a different part of the house?
Yeah.
She wasn't with you?
Well, she had gone to be with me earlier in the night, but I left her alone for quite a while I was sort of just walking around and, you know, haunting around the house like I do.
Haunting around the house. Because that's normal.
Sometimes I go out for walks at night, or I just sit on the couch and just fiddle around on my phone, or just, you know, I don't sleep well at night, especially when I've got to be up early and do something the next day.
Yeah.
And that was the case. So the time I realized anything was wrong, it was
She was in a different part of the house when you found that out?
She was still upstairs.
Oh, she was upstairs. Okay.
Yeah, I left her alone there.
Oh, okay.
I had gone downstairs for a while
and haunted around.
And I realized anything was wrong. It was just far too late. You know, she'd been gone for a while.
Okay.
You know, just seeing her pale face and blue lips and how ice cold she was. And
Oh, that's an admission of guilt.
created her.
And wait,
Yeah, I remember.
you guys take into consideration here just how Stephan turns everything around on him. Like if the parents say they lost weight, he's like, well, I'm looking thin too. The mom does the exact same thing right here.
My brother, when he had passed away.
And the dad.
That's the last thing I remember seeing of him. So.
Yeah, you know, it's just, you can tell.
Yes, you can. My dad, yeah.
It's just,
My dad.
they're gone, really, really, truly gone. It's just, there's nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could not do anything in the first place.
She was past the point of no return.
Okay, the reason this pisses me off, you guys, is because her mom and his dad are old. Maddie was just turned 13.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, given the crazies of the grandmom and already started to call her a gordo.
What's a gordo? Somebody tell me in the comments what that means, please.
Gastric bypass, but I just think, you know, maybe God just delivered her out of a place that was going to become really bad for her.
That's horrible to say. She's a horrible human. I'm sorry, Mrs. Sterns, if you're watching this, with all due respect, ma'am, that's a horrible thing to say. That was a horrible thing to say. That was a horrible thing to say.
I mean, I always knew that life was going to be hard for her. Her mom certainly didn't do her any favors, and since I had no say in the matter of how she was raised or disciplined or anything, there was nothing I could do about it but sit back and watch the train wreck as it unfolded.
I can't.
Yeah, and she's trying to tell everybody that she was a little angel and she had no problems with her, and you were already telling us that they were butting heads like two Rocky Mountain rams.
Yeah, they had got physical on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, I figure they did that again. But okay.
You know, I often say to mediators.
So the mom tries to give him an out right there.
Talk either of them down when they start going at it with each other.
Yeah, I know.
Where were the roommates when all this is going on?
You know, upstairs, you know, doing their own things.
Was all that screaming and yelling and crap going on?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
It's kind of, honestly, it wasn't that far out of place in that house. You know, it was often given to yelling or loud crying or outbursts, and it was given to yelling and screaming and
It's everybody else's fault, you guys.
coming down on
Just like
people.
a narcissist.
It was happening a lot more and more often, which is why I kept trying to tell you know, I think maybe your meds are becoming less effective. It seems like you're becoming more erratic and more unstable. It seemed like the more stable I became, the more unstable she became. Like we switched places.
Well, I always told you she was a black hole to need.
Wait, what did she say? I always told you she was a what?
Like a black hole something.
Of need? A black
Oh,
hole
yeah.
need.
Yeah, of need. That sounds good.
Wow. So it's everybody else's fault, you guys.
Nothing to do about it now, but what I hate the worst is that she's sitting in a hospital having 3 meals a day, clean sheets, television, access to phone, reading, walking around, free,
Wow.
taking a shower by herself, and you're sitting where you are.
Wow, she only lost her daughter, ma'am.
I guarantee her food's probably a lot better than mine.
Oh my God.
Oh, I guarantee there's a lot of stuff that's better than yours.
You guys, when I do these reactions, I usually mute myself and I'm like saying all that, like half of that stuff without you guys hearing me, but I can't for some reason the way I have it set up right now. And just for anybody that just came in, I'm not on camera because I'm upside down. I just need a whole new everything in life right now. So, you guys are hearing my like reaction. I can't like not react to this woman. I just can't, and all of them.
Hopefully.
Very, 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 very slim chance of doing anything about any of this. And I'm praying to God and asking for his help to make it possible. But
Well, how about giving up the chivalrous part and
Yeah, because he's so fucking chivalrous.
what's that?
I said, quit being so chivalrous and protective of, start laying some truth bombs on her.
Truth bombs. I'm a chomo.
There's truth bombs there.
That's right. That's a truth bomb.
You know, maybe none is groundbreaking or bombastic as, you know, you might hope for, but there are some truths there. Some
He just said everything right there.
and some not so pretty truths. But
Do tell.
I guess I reacted to everything the way I did because I wanted to shield her.
No, you reacted the way you did because you're a piece of shit.
Getting any blowback from him, but
You shouldn't have. You shouldn't have, because that left him only one person to lay everything on. That was you.
Oh.
And you know, I should have just done the correct thing from the get-go and let the chips fall where they may.
I should have just ate my root beer barrels.
I can't stand the idea of losing them both horribly like that. And I lost them both anyway, so it was pointless.
Do you guys hear the guy in the background screaming?
There was just so much agony and so much pain, so much shock and so much trauma. My mind was just not, it wasn't me anymore. I wasn't in control of myself anymore. I was doing things that I wouldn't do. I wasn't acting or thinking rationally. It was just panic and fear and
Panic.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
You know, Stephan, I can't help but get the feeling that none of this that was on the phone was a surprise to
she was aware that I had certain feelings towards me.
Oh, this part drives me nuts.
Well, then why would she send her in there to sleep with you?
She used to joke about it, you know, call it an electrocomplex.
Hmm.
Used to joke and say, you better look for my daughter when she's older.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, Dad, what are you going to say?
Oh my God. It's funny. I didn't catch that the first time because I was listening to all the other stuff. I didn't hear him say the Electra complex, which is hilarious.
Hilarious. He's like,
that don't know what that is. It's the opposite. It's kind of like a later introduction of what Freud's Oedipal complex is, where it's the relationship between son and mother, and you're falling in love with your opposite sex parent, pushing the same sex parent away, but eventually you start to realize you're not supposed to be in love with your parent, and so you start to move away due to castration anxiety and all this other shit that happens. And the electric complex is just the female version of that.
I wanted to die when I heard that.
Oh my God, that is hilarious to me.
Isn't that
He like talks about how like she had no boundaries.
She
didn't respect my boundaries.
Wait, and wait till you guys hear him like say, like, I love that he gives himself up in the one part. He like, I think it's coming up next, where he talks about how he wanted her to make her sleep in a different room, but Jen said no, it's easier to wake her up here. And then he says, okay, but then Jen wanted me to go in a different room, and I'm like 6'1". I'm like too big for that. Why would I not sleep in the king size bed? I was like, oh my God. I was like, somebody stop before I kill this guy. But all right, let's see what else he has to say.
Laugh about it, and they used to both ogle over me and comment on me and talk about me together and giggle. And
all right, I'm going back a tiny second because this is important.
About it, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know, Stephan, I can't help but get the feeling that none of this that was on the phone was a surprise to.
I'm going to try not to react.
She was aware that I had certain feelings towards me.
Yeah. Well, then why was she considering her to sleep with you?
She used to joke about it, you know, call it an electric complex. She used to joke and say, you know, you better not leave me for my daughter when she's older, things like that. Laugh about it, and they used to both ogle over me and comment on me and talk about me together and giggle and talk about how nice I looked, and it was not an appropriate situation.
No, it wasn't.
And, you know, I always had an issue with boundaries. She never respected any boundaries that I tried to set. You know, we got in arguments on more than one occasion about the sleeping arrangements, so I, you know, would beg her, you know, please make her go sleep in her own room. And she said, no, it's easier this way for me to wake her up when she's near me. And you know, it's like we didn't have any privacy, and, you know, just didn't have any space to ourselves. And she would suggest, well, maybe you should go sleep in bed instead. And it's like, you know, it's like a twin bed, and I'm, you know, 6+ feet, and no, why would I want to do that instead of sleeping in our king-size bed, you know?
All right, who wants to punch him in the face?
For a long time ago, and just distanced myself.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So what is hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah, it seems to be my superpower. Useless superpower.
Yeah, it is useless, just like you.
Well, you know, you certainly didn't appreciate it when I told you that.
No, I certainly didn't. You know, typical, you know, kid trying to make their own way or have their own ideas and realizing only too late, you know, how valuable their parents' advice really was.
Yeah. Well, this is a shit show that rivals a pigsty.
Right? Who says that?
So that's something that you recover from.
None of us will ever.
Is somebody checking in on the guy in the background?
1 minute remaining.
Oh, 1 minute remaining. I need money.
Okay, you got your 1 minute warning, and they're probably not going to give you a fourth run at this.
Yeah, someone's screaming in the background right now, too.
Okay, honey, I hear them. So, you going to try to call back tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll see if I can call back in a couple days. I've probably got about $18, $19 left on the phone account, and I've got like 17 cents left in the commissary account.
What a piece of shit.
We'll try to do something about that.
Okay.
What do you need to have the commissary replenish?
What?
When do you need to have the commissary replenished?
Whenever you're able to, I guess. I did get a pad of paper though.
Nice.
You think of what?
He got a pad of paper.
So that he could write about
I love you
Jesus.
guys, and I'll talk to you in the next couple days.
All right.
Okay, we love you too, honey. Bye.
All right. So what did you think about this one?
So just referring to, oh, look,
Yeah,
a
please
squirrel, he was in the psych ward. We didn't hear the first two conversations, but in the very first conversation that they had this day, he said how he had talked to the mental health director and she was taking him a step down. So he was coming off of like acute status and going into a no restrictions normal thing. So he was still going to be isolated in protective custody. But he wasn't under self-harm watch anymore. So,
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is, he is an ass and it's definitely narcissistic. I still have issues with the whole situation because, I hate Jen Soto as well. I think she is to blame as well for a lot of the things that occurred. But you're still the one who did it. No matter how you look at it. I mean, you have implicated yourself. So you haven't implicated yourself on the actual murder itself, but you have on the sexual aspect of having a relationship with this girl. So even if you don't end up getting murder, which I highly doubt that you won't, you still did things that you knew that you shouldn't have been doing.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. What a pizza truck she is.
Yeah, so you still need to take responsibility for that because he even goes in to talk about how he loved her so much. He can't stand. So that was the other thing. He couldn't believe that this was happening. He would have never wanted anything to help him. And you were talking about his mom always putting it back on her. And she did this in an earlier conversation that day too, because I
think I might have something.
Die? Did his brother die?
No.
Okay, so somebody had died, and she's like, I found calm and serenity as I'm leaning over his body. Oh, was it the dad? Father?
She's a dramatic motherfucker.
And that brought me back to earth. And he was talking about how he now claims begness from God for, and wishes God would have taken him and not her, and all this, And so I'm like, you're being recorded, so that you're running, you're talking about things that are going to help you no matter what.
How does that help him though? He's
I guess he's trying to show compassion, but that's the thing I hate about the mother. I know Jen Soto is an idiot and an asshole too, but you have to show a little bit of compassion, lady.
You do,
and this
is the thing, you guys.
Lost a daughter. You have a son that you're losing, so you understand. Yes. But she lost it physically. You know, you can at least still talk to yours. Where is the compassion as a mother?
And she even compares it and says that he has it worse than Jen.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Are you kidding me? But I think this is where we also differ a little bit. All right. So I think that, and you're with the rest of the world. I'm on an island by myself, but I just have to be true to myself and be honest about it. But I feel like Jen Soto, I feel like she's guilty of being a bad parent, but I feel like she's one of the people, and it doesn't happen often, but there are times where a predator finds a prey that includes the mom and the daughter. So in other words, this, he wouldn't have been able to get it. His one girlfriend, I'll have to send you that audio as well. I don't know if they were ever boyfriend and girlfriend, but they were hooking up. He worked with her, and she told the cops, oh yeah, you did hear, because remember she said that the only way that he got erect was when she played dead.
Yeah.
That girl. Right. So she brings up, what the hell was I just saying? I just got an ADHD moment.
You think that she was being groomed?
Oh, Jen. Yes, I think she was being groomed. And I think that with her, he says something about him going back to sleep there because she needs a cuddle or whatever. And the girl said that was the last time they ever spoke. So in other words, if that woman had a kid and she didn't, but I'm just saying, like, I'm giving you an example, that would have been like, he didn't try to like not hunt her down, but he didn't try to like be chivalrous and try to get her back after that. Right. So that, because that said to him that she isn't vulnerable enough for me to manipulate. So I feel like Jen was vulnerable enough, and whether it be due to post-traumatic stress, she's as selfish as can be. She is guilty of being selfish. She's guilty of not protecting her daughter. She's guilty of all those things. But I don't think, and I don't know what you think, so I'm not putting any words in your mouth. This is just my opinion. I don't think there's some like creators that think like she was like way complicit in this, like as if she knew about him picking up the body and putting her in the car, and like the whole time she was at that her interview for the police interview, she knew where the kid was. And I'm like, no, she didn't. I don't believe any of that. So how far into it does it go for you?
So I have two theories, which are complete opposite theories.
And again, this is all alleged, you guys.
It's all yeah. So the one theory kind of really goes with you, like she is a horrible mother. I don't care how we look at it or what her issues are. She's a horrible mother. All right. Because you are not going to sit here and tell me that the decisions you made as a parent were good ones that did not lead your daughter down this dark path. You did. You know, like no normal mother would
she set her up for failure. Sure.
Would approve of this, and how, you know, and I think it stems even further than Sterns though. And I don't know how far, because why is your daughter so scared that she has to crawl into bed with you at 13 years old every night? There is a problem there. But I think what happens is her problem stems from Jen's own problem. I think I've said this before in one of our lives, is that she was sexually abused at some point in time. Even though she doesn't talk about it, I would bet my life that she has been abused, because the shit that comes out of her mouth.
Well, I think her mom's allegedly is a narcissist too. Like if you look at her relationship with her mom, like I see that there too. Remember, the mom was like making food. She was trying to go into the service, and the mom was like making food in front of her to like who
gain
does
weight.
that?
Yeah.
Like,
so I think there's one side where I think she is just so mentally ill.
Yes,
that
I do too.
She is, you know, people can see her coming from a mile away. And unfortunately, she, you know, her daughter got the shit end of that stick.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
I will say the other part that I have is it's going to be off the rails.
That's all right. That's right. Everybody has an opinion.
I knew more about how sick she was mentally, and I do think Jen was very sick, and you know, stemming from all the abuse that she probably had. You know, did she? And so the comment that really gets me a lot of the times is there's two of them. The one about the plane, where her daughter's going to see her actual real dad. And she's worried about being videotaped in the bathroom. That is an odd statement to me. But the other one that really bothers me so much is what she says to Sterns. And she physically says that I was so worried. And I told him my biggest fear in life is that she's going to turn 18 and you're going to leave her for me. You're going to leave me for her. Nobody in their right mind would ever say that about, one, their boyfriend, and two, their daughter, who is 12 years old at the time. So in my head, did she corrupt and feel so strongly about her non-reality that she was actually jealous of her daughter? And
she could have been jealous.
In order to fix that problem, she almost kind of purposefully coerced this storyline. And basically, I'm not saying Sterns did not do what he did, but did she end up pushing the agenda in some way because of her own jealousy?
Okay, so this is what I have for a comeback to that. So this is like my thought on that. So one, let me just do this one real quick. Oh, look, a squirrel says, but she also calls herself a watcher, and I'm not sure there's a limit to it. So this is what I would say to this. So just in case anybody doesn't know and they're listening, Jennifer describes herself as a watcher of interactions between Sterns and Madeline. And this is alarming, obviously, after 7 years of them living together. So I totally agree with that. She's very passive. She raises question about why she wasn't more involved. Remember, she's like, I should have been a better mom. I should have seen the signs, but I didn't. This is my psychological insight on that. He's a narcissist, right? So he likely played a role in shaping her behavior. So he's manipulative. He often makes those around him feel dependent or powerless. So given Jennifer, and like you were saying, she has PTSD. I think she even says she has bipolar disorder, right? Sterns would have taken advantage of that. He would have taken advantage of her being vulnerable, like I said, and forced control over her and Madeline. So over time, Jen may have become emotionally paralyzed, allowing Sterns to take control while she passively observed. And I think that plays into the Woody Allen. So this kind of emotional manipulation could have set the stage for her troubling remarks about Woody Allen, as she likely repeated fears planted by Sterns himself. Does that make sense? That's where I'm at with that. So I feel like with Sterns, he was a narcissist and he planted stories. If you think about it, I always say we don't like in others what we don't like about ourselves. I guarantee, in my opinion, I don't guarantee, let me walk that back. I don't want to get sued. In my opinion, I would strongly argue that because there's pictures and the police, this isn't alleged, the police sit down with Angela, I think it was, one of her roommates, and says, we have video. Is this you? We have video, and it's video of him videoing underneath the door of her bedroom. So again, just like I said with the other one, I wouldn't be surprised if Jen was just repeating a fear that Stephan Sterns planted in her head.
I think that there's a little bit of truth in everything we talked about.
We could all, all of these things could be true, and they could all be wrong too, right?
Yeah, and they could all be wrong too. Yeah, I mean, end of the day, this man, I would be really surprised if he did not go down forever for all the way up to murder. He's already going to get the SA charges. There's no doubt about it. There's physical evidence of that on video.
And the dad's one of the people that turned it over.
Yeah, so there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I believe his dad's the one that turned over the 3,500 images of not of Madeline, but of the other kids. And the cop said that there was, because the dad asked, and I believe the dad said something along the lines of, do you have to listen, or do you have to look at all of these pictures? And the officer was like, yes. And he said, oh man, I feel bad for whoever had to do that. And the cop was like, it was me. I had to do it. And the dad asked, inquires about it. And he said, it's absolutely impossible for us to find all of these kids. And that right there is a tragedy. Yeah. Right. So it's like, who are these kids? And what do you mean that like this sucks, So wait, let's listen a little bit more.
Well, it's funny because he talks about something. So the mom, eventually, it was one of those things where they're just talking about shit, like God, and then he's finding clarity in jail. But then he also goes on to say the clarity that he's finding in life is he's now knows how important life is, how cavalier and careless he was, and how he's been with all people and things. And then out of nowhere, mom goes, well, that's when she goes into the abuse thing, right? And he's like, well, strictly speaking, I'm not into younger people like that.
Oh, wait till we get to that, you guys. Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, but we already know that there's evidence that you are, because he makes this whole thing I've never really liked kids. I've never really been attracted.
3,500 pieces of evidence that there's 3,500 kids that he finds attractive.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think here's another example of mom's narcissism. Yeah. I feel like something else is happening in the background with the parents, whether they're trying to trying to show him support, but I'm not actually sure if they're supporting him, because I don't think she wants to lose her image. So she's trying to get him to talk, but still trying to say she supports him, but trying to get him to talk about these things. Like, oh, you did, and he's like, nah, I can't talk about this.
But then he talks about it when he'll be like, I can't talk about this, but I watched her soul leave her body.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's, she's like, well, I know it was just her. But it was also other people as well, possibly. And he's like, I can't give details. I can't deny or
yes,
prove
confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see. Does he get in on this one? I think he does.
Hey, is this okay to call you now?
Yeah, I just finished up with some customers, so good timing.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I was worried that you'd probably, because I know the weekends are busy for you. But we had a little under an hour before the solar system turns off.
What time does it turn off?
4:30 until 7:30.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I got time.
Okay. So I just used the commissary kiosk, and I looked into the reading glasses. They're $11.50 a piece. And they start at 1.25 and step up in quarter increments all the way up to 2.5.
Yeah.
Look, Daddy, I did what you said, and I got the information.
1.5.
1.5. I guess I could start with that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right,
Do you get a chance to try? I guess you don't get a chance to try tomorrow, right?
no.
Okay. Well, let's go for one. Let's try 1.5.
Okay, we'll try 1.5. I'll make that on my next order. I'll need some money, Cal Bill, if you want to put some in today.
Who needs some money?
Yeah, I'll give myself a reminder.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, because I did make an order, but there's no money in the account, so the money won't pull out until tomorrow
I
morning.
recognize he never says thank you either.
Never.
Ever.
All right. Let me make myself an alarm.
Okay, I got myself some more coffees.
And some more root beer
Saltines
barrels.
and some more root beer barrels.
Oh my God, I know it.
And I got myself a little treat. I got myself a little
Have a
box of
treat.
fruit punch.
Little treat. Little snacks. Beverage snack.
Okay.
Okay, that's
My next
wrong.
order, I will get some reading glasses and see how that goes for me.
No, you won't, you liar. Awkward
I'm
pause.
already looking into reading glasses. I feel like an old man.
Well, here's
Oh, you're getting old. Hey, question.
Yes.
When you left town to go to Kissimmee, what time did you leave?
It's in the afternoon.
wait, he tries to guess.
Sunday.
But this is Dad again trying to
Yes.
get the answers from him.
Right, Dad tries to get the answer from him because Dad even knows, because he says at one of the earlier things, he says, I'll probably never get the opportunity. Like, we'll never get, because Stephan says, try to set something up and maybe we can talk. And Dad's like, they'll never. So the dad knows that they're being.
I think the dad definitely knows that he's lying because he's like, okay, but you left at this time. Like, where were you? Where did
And
you go?
I don't
Oh, you
hear
just
the
driving
mom.
around?
Yeah, and
doesn't
I
make
don't hear the mom in this one, so I'm not sure if.
No,
like,
it's just Dad because I think he's at work.
Gotcha. All right,
Yeah.
let's see.
1 o'clock-ish, something like that.
Could have been later, 6 o'clock.
See?
Maybe. I don't think I got to Kissimmee until around 8:30-ish.
So he's like
Yeah.
guessing
Oh,
to
okay.
see, like, to
That
fit the
sounds about
dad's.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Does that sound right? Does that sound right?
I
He
was
says.
curious as to,
Honey buns.
I don't know if I said goodbye to you when you left. You said something about when I get back we would go shooting, so I guess we're not going to do that now.
Like, really?
Like,
I'd love to go shoot.
Like, really?
Dad says some of the most off the wall shit sometimes.
He really does. And not for nothing. And Mr. Sterns, if you're watching, with all due respect, like, maybe this stuff should have been done more while he was home. And
Yeah.
you should have had more of an influence there. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the dad, and I feel bad. I actually feel bad for the dad, though, because I do feel like the dad has regret and remorse, where I feel like the mom is definitely still in the stage of blaming everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, Dad, even though he's not hopeful, he seems more of the realist because he does try to be humorous at times, knowing that it's going to fall flat, or he
That's
says
right.
something like, it's completely off color, dude. And but you said it anyway.
That's right. All right, let's see what he has to say.
Sorry we didn't get to do that.
There's a lot of things not going to be doing.
Yeah.
I don't think they do pizza in prison.
No, that's one thing I'm not going to get.
Oh, I think this is where his dad rubs it in about Taco Bell.
You know, I always said that life isn't so bad as long as you still have pizza and tacos.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
We're
have
getting a new taco place.
Well,
Yep.
they're opening up a Del Taco in Port Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Damn.
Yeah.
Shucks.
Yeah, I think they're opening it up down the street from Arby's.
It's a bummer.
Well, that's the freedoms
all
of
that
people when
fun
you're
to
not a
do anyway.
chomo.
Yeah, well, it's great that you should, because that definitely would have been
Shucks.
exciting news for me.
That would have been an exciting piece of news for me.
Mm.
I just feel so sad sometimes.
Hmm. See, me too. It's all about him.
A lot of people getting the backlash from this.
Mhm. A lot of people, meaning you, Dad.
Yeah, and pray to God.
A lot of hurt going around everywhere.
His dad just isn't saying the right things, though. Like he's beating around the
One
bush.
of my biggest regrets is that I've been so cavalier and so careless with the people that cared about me and that relied on me to be better than I was.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
It's like one of my biggest and deepest regrets.
You ain't got regrets, you dumbass. You just regret you got caught.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no backspace, delete, and do over it. You know, we're past that.
Well, I just keep praying to God to deliver me from this or give me a chance to do it right.
Gosh, oh my God.
That's a big if.
Yeah, I know it's a big ask, and I told him even if I'm not worthy of it now, that I'll work my best to become worthy of it.
You're not worthy of it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And I hope that you guys
Well, the murder charge. Yeah.
We're both academically trained, and we're both letting you know that ain't happening, yo.
The murder charge aside, I mean, you're pretty much fucked on the other side.
Yes, you are. Tell him, Dad.
potentially,
Preach.
I don't want to confirm or deny anything one way or the other. I'm trying to hold on to hope as best as I can and
You better hold on tight.
see how the cards fall out here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
geez.
Any way to follow up on where your mail order is? Is that possibility?
When I talked
Take
to
that for Ben?
when I spoke to the mental health director, she said that she would check with the mailroom, but in case that she forgot to do that, which is likely that she would forget, that you guys could also call the mailroom and check in with them and say, you know, hey, we're trying to send our son from the outside. What's the deal with that?
He tells them what to
Okay.
say.
All right. Then I'll follow up on Monday.
No, I'll
If
do
you guys
that.
get a hold of the mailroom, you should be able to look into that and see what's what.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that last time. Sorry.
No, you just forgot.
No problem.
Anyway,
So,
Can you put money on my books?
well, this
Did you
is
find my watch?
yeah, I know it.
It's in the mail,
Make sure that I
Toy.
called you before the phone system turned off and hope that I caught you at a good time.
so that I could tell you to put money on my books.
Yeah. Yep. It's sitting at open house. I just finished up for people.
I need that kiosk.
Are you showing houses or sitting at an open house?
No, I was just showing some homes.
It's in the purple dragon box.
So you
I
go
don't
back
know.
side of things.
Can't.
That's all I'm doing.
It's funny when he kept saying that, and with the popcorn thing, I was like,
Yes.
Just with the way
So
the market
pissed.
is going down there, just
Look, he wants
not such a bad thing right now, huh?
he wants to know where the market's going because he wants to know how much money his dad could put.
You're not stuck trying to sell a single product. You've got the whole market available to yourself.
Yeah,
You get to control the narrative.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, I imagine that probably is a good deal right now, especially with the way it's heating up down there. So,
Yep.
we should be there to help you out.
No, you don't.
Well, me too, but
You wish you could be out, not to help him out.
can't dwell on that. We got to figure out what kind of path we can carve out it for you in the future.
So listen, here goes
You know, maybe
Stephan's true
God has a
colors.
plan for you.
Maybe I won't spend the rest of my natural life in these places in this cell. I need to have some sort of plan together,
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
some sort of resource to fall back on.
I'm gonna need some, and it's your, wait, I can't.
You
I'm sorry.
articulate well.
And the dad's like, yeah, well, we'll have to figure that out later.
I literally was just shaking. I couldn't even hit the pause button. Like my hand was shaking. That boils my blood. He literally says, I'm going to have resources
Yep.
for if I ever get out of here. So it's like, P.S. I need you to give me money.
I need to come live with you. Yeah.
Well, not even that.
I
Like
need
if you
to take care of
die,
me.
yes, if you die, make sure you put something in my name, but like make sure you find that watch in the dragon box.
Passionate about something, you know,
Yeah.
God has a plan for you.
The dad says when you're passionate about something, like he follows through, we know all about it. There's 35,000 images that tell us that.
Yep.
If I get to be free again, you know, I've been thinking about that, you know. Obviously, job prospects are going to be difficult to come by. I might need some sort of resources to help me get back on my feet immediately until I can work out the income situation.
Yeah. Don't know what that would be, but because
I don't know, maybe
we may be gone by the time you get out.
I know.
Yep.
There's any way we might be able to
Can't help you, dude.
trust
I
or
know.
something.
Did you guys hear him? He said maybe we could set up a trust or something.
I don't know how that could work out, but
The
maybe some
balls.
sort of plan could be gotten together, but that's all conjecture until we know what's going to be what here.
Yeah.
So,
The
Once
balls
we
of this guy.
figure out what's what, then we can figure out what to do in the future.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, did you manage to find my watch?
No,
Find my
I didn't.
watch?
Okay, you probably haven't looked for it yet.
He's like, no. He's like, no, we locked.
Storage stuff, I'm not tearing that stuff apart because you can imagine I had to clear.
The boxes that were in my room.
Look, he gets him in.
Well, we
I
sent
know.
through boxes and there wasn't in your room.
Here we go, Lucy.
But you didn't look inside the mouse joy
Look
popcorn.
in the box.
I
We
can't.
went through everything.
So
And
you
I can
looked,
tell you it wasn't there.
so it wasn't in the mouse joy popcorn bucket?
Nope.
Wow, Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be in there somewhere. I mean, it wouldn't be anywhere else. I would have brought it with me.
Well, I can tell you that we went through everything, fine tooth comb, and not there. What do you think that watch is worth?
At least in the condition that it's in right now, I mean, it needs servicing. It's probably overdue for service by $1,200, a couple thousand maybe.
What?
Maybe more.
No.
If you find these,
I think you're.
Not even a Rolex.
I think
It's like an
No.
Omega or something.
mega boxes in
Yep.
there somewhere, that will help.
I think you're. I think you were on target with the first number because Omegas don't get the value that Rolexes do.
Well, probably.
I didn't want to be like any old person that just gets it with money.
Rolexes do retain the value a lot better.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about that. I just wanted something that was different and not a Rolex. You know, any a-hole with money goes and gets a Rolex. You know,
Yeah, I'm sure.
doesn't require any taste or any knowledge. I like the fact that Grandpa had an Omega as well.
Wow.
I don't know. It seemed appropriate using his inheritance to buy the same kind of watch that he would have had.
Wait, the dad calls him out.
You can't do what?
I said it seemed appropriate to use his inheritance to buy the same kind of watch that he would have had.
The dad calls him out.
Made me feel a little more connected to him, I guess.
I don't even remember what his watch looked like. I know he wasn't wearing it towards the end, he was wearing some Timex, I think.
Yeah.
He was wearing a Timex from Walgreens because you stole his watch. Like, what the fuck?
I had it to do over though. I might have got something like a Rolex or maybe a Sage Coach.
So he just calls people who get Rolexes, like he calls them out and then says, if I had to do it over, I would do a Rolex. This is such a narcissist, right? He's trying to mirror what he thinks his dad wants to hear because he's about to get the 1 minute voicemail and he's got to ask for money.
Submariners are always nice and well.
Yes, I think so, Lucy.
There's a lot of Rolexes out there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there are. You don't see many JLCs though. That's a little more of a offbeat brand.
Where did that come in at? He has an Omega and a mouse droid.
Got the ball. That would have been cheaper than the Omega. A lot more robust.
Robust.
Those things I'll probably do differently. But,
You think?
wish I'd been more careful
Yeah.
with people that I loved.
You know, you wish you were more careful with hiding the shit you didn't want people to
Well,
find.
maybe you'll get a second chance at that. But,
No, you won't.
I was hoping that I
you
did.
got a big hill to climb up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
I know it's,
That's the understatement of the
very thin
Captain
chance,
Obvious.
but I hope that you and Mom will pray for me to get that second chance. I forgot to hear my prayers in regards to
Wait,
that.
listen to what he says about
From
God.
this situation and from the people that are wanting to destroy me.
Because it's everybody else's fault 'cause he's a narcissist.
Mm.
You know, do whatever it takes to be worthy of that. Live in a more upright and virtuous way.
He's like virtuous. That's a
We
word.
got a minute remaining.
Oh, minute. Here we go.
Okay.
Well, if you want, I can try to call you again tonight. Otherwise, I can call you back in a couple days.
And can you put some money on my
Whatever you
commissary?
want, we're available.
Okay, I'll try again tonight, but if you don't hear from me, then expect news in the next few days or so. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
And don't forget to put some money into the commissary.
Oh my God.
The order will go through tomorrow.
I hate him.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love you very much, Dad.
Love you too. Take care.
Give my love to Mom.
I will.
Okay, bye-bye.
What a piece of shit. Seriously, isn't he?
All the time. Oh my God.
What is wrong with this guy?
So grateful for everything. And like,
So ungrateful.
I am so confused by the dynamics that this family has on the phone. When like even the next call, which we'll probably get into next time,
Yeah.
it's like you just found out that you're on death row, practically, and
Right.
you have like zero emotions about this.
No, and he
let's
just
not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, like they just have the
unbelievable.
weirdest relationship. So weird.
The weirdest. You guys, this is a mouse droid. That's a mouse droid. Okay, so I looked it up before, and I think it has to do with
So that's what the watch was in.
Yes, it's in the mouse droid,
He said it was like a remote control bot thing.
and he's like pissed too. He's like, I said it was in the mouse droid in the purple. What was
In
it? The purple dragon. It's in the purple in my room. I
In the
said it
purple
was in my
dragon.
room.
In the popcorn bucket.
Yes, the
Like-
popcorn bucket. I have to figure out what that looks like. And he tries it a few times. He tries to say to the parents, he's like, did you find this? And then he's like, well, it isn't that, but I'm just trying to give you an example of what you should be looking out for.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
And then,
And
on
then
top-
he changes his tune though. And he's like, oh, well, I must have just misplaced it somewhere.
yeah,
Like
she-
after dad's like, we looked through all those boxes. There's nothing there.
nothing
Like,
except
I
for
must have misplaced it and put it somewhere
Right.
else. I don't know what it could be. So again, like that narcissistic thing where he's manipulating to a point where he realizes he
Star
can't do it. And he's like, all right, I got to back down. That way I'm not coming off too harsh.
It's
Because
funny you
no,
say that. I don't know how far up it was, but somebody said something about Casey Anthony, and that's exactly what she did. She led them right to the door all the way until she couldn't lie anymore, and then said and backed out. And that's
Yep.
funny because that is a narcissist thing to do. But wait, do you think he believes he's going to outsmart the state? The mouse droid is from Star Wars. So that's where it's from, Star Wars. Oh my
Maybe.
God. Wait, what does it say? The name of the popcorn bucket was Maddie, right? This poor guy. Squirrel, that's sad. He's from, it's from the ride he worked on at Disney. It's Pigma or something like that. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up and see. But yeah, you guys, this was absolutely crazy so far. So we went over about half of them, and then should we just do the second half next time? I thought that I feel like, I mean, unless something comes out with the Koberger stuff that's so like, you know, we need to talk about it type thing, we'll do this next week. And you know, whoever wants to listen can listen, and that would be amazing if you come and you join. But again, probably around the same time next week. I'm going to have to change. I think my thumbnail says 7, but I set it for like 7:30. So I have to fix that.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to fix that a little bit. But I hope you guys forgive me. This is why I wasn't there tonight on camera, because I'm upside down. Again, I don't want anybody to think I was just trying to like hide. I wasn't. But hopefully we see you all. Is there any closing thoughts or anything you'd like to say?
Nope. I think we've said a lot.
I think there was enough said. And if anybody is just joining or coming in on the replay crew, this is one packed. This one's packed. And you get my literal commentary while we're listening, and I think that's going to happen next time because of the way I have to set up my old ass computer. Oh my God, Truth, call me a dork. I remember that was like, that's so 90s of you, Truth. Gosh, now I'm gonna have to go out and like do something bad because I have to blame the 90s on my upbringing. Oh, that'll be next week. I can't.
Two people who grew up in the 90s.
Yeah, like I was like, is he serious right now?
He was so serious. He was so serious.
He was so serious. All right. I love you guys. And we'll see you next week and we'll talk about this. So next week, we're going to get into how he had his first French kiss when he was 6 and how the 90s ruined him and how he was over-sexualized and girls would just flash themselves to him because he's so special and how his friends are jealous of him, right? All of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get into all of that next week. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks,
Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Anya. You're the best.
You too. Thanks. See you next week.
I'll see you later. Good night, everyone.
Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this so that I can continue to bring you content. Thank you so much.